Bootleg review. Good day everyone, my name is Josh and you're watching Josh Reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing this bootleg Retro Ben Reilly figure that I got off from China. When I saw this dude listed on Shopee, I decided to get it right away. Because who would pass on that sweet deal of 800 pesos? Almost half of retail. And I actually bought this blindly without any reviews yet. So I'm just lucky I got the figure, period. First we're going to start off with the box. Box art is actually pretty convincing from far away and it's pretty well done. I could tell that it's not as crispy, the print is not as crispy as the original one, but it's convincing and it's also scary, like how they have this inside the original packaging. Actually opened this one already to check the figure. That's what we're gonna do now. Here he is out of the card, and upon first seeing this dude, I already see the problem. If you focus your eyes on the butterfly joints, you can see that the lines aren't aligned. That is because both the butterfly joints are in backwards. This is actually the first time I got unlucky with my bootleg. As you can see, the butterfly joints is on backwards. But the good thing is, since they're just backwards, I can just crack the torso and just switch them, which I may be doing in the future. I also contacted the seller of this shop if they can have this replaced or refunded or anything, because I've seen others have their bootleg Retro Ben Reilly with no errors, even though it's a bootleg. Anyway, let us first review the paint. The first thing I would notice here would be the head. The head isn't painted that well. The lines are not aligned and the eyes are not painted well. I also noticed that the red seems kinda off from the body, and that is because, I'm gonna pop this real quick. It's because the head is actually molded in blue plastic and then painted red. So there's a slight difference to the look and the feel of the head. So this is actually just red paint instead of red plastic mold. There we go. We're gonna proceed to the body. Not bad. Some missing paint, but it's not horrible. Shoulders, the web lines don't really match up that well, but overall the torso is pretty good. It's well made. So I'm gonna go here. Pretty okay paint. Oh, and I also noticed that they tried adding red paint over here because the original Ben Reilly has a red peg, which they didn't really need to do. But they just tried to match this up with the original one. It's so funny how they painted the peg red even though they really don't need to. This one I already scratched out, but I really had to include this in the video because that's pretty funny how they put effort into painting that. So yeah, paint is pretty passable from afar actually. Even the hands are painted well, the fingers. So now we proceed with the sculpt, and I could say that it's 1-to-1 with the original retro Spider-Man, except for the butterfly joints. You know, I still need to switch those up soon, but it's still the same. The exact body mold, still pretty good, still looking badass. So yeah, there we go. And for the articulation, surprisingly, there's no problems apart from the slight looseness of the torso over here and the abs being quite loose. There's really no problem. It even has the drop down joints over here. It's pretty tight, but it works. I'm actually surprised because I thought the drop down joints would be non-existent. Also, I've seen other videos of the bootleg symbiote Spider-Man where the butterfly joints doesn't work, but this one does. It does it pretty well, see? The only downside that I see is like the head joint feels a bit short. It doesn't go all the way up as the original retro Spider-Man does, but that actually removes the gapping from the neck and the head. As you can see over here, see? It's much more closer. So I guess that's an improvement. I don't know if the real Ben Reilly figure does that. So yeah, the articulation is pretty good. It holds the same articulation points as the retro Spider-Man. And here he is side by side with my original retro Spider-Man. And looking at these two figures IRL, it's pretty convincing if you don't really look into the details such as the head. But yeah, I could see this sitting on my shelf and it would blend right in. Which is also pretty scary because how close these knockoffs are with the real figure, you know. Guess they really are getting better and better. As if they're just overruns. They must be overruns, I don't know. Because it's too well made. The plastic feel on this one though. The plastic feel on the knockoff seems kinda off. And it also smells different. It smells... This one smells way toxic than the Hasbro plastic. I don't know. Maybe it's the paint, but it smells different. Oh, and I also think that it's quite poetic getting a bootleg clone Ben Reilly next to my original Spider-Man. Because, you know, being that Ben Reilly is a clone of Peter Parker, it's pretty poetic, don't you think? So, yeah. My final thoughts on this figure is that it's a good knockoff. It's a pretty good knockoff, minus the butterfly joints, but I'm still working on that refund or replacement. But either way, I'm still gonna modify this dude and gonna fix his butterfly joints. So if you don't mind having QC issues, because that's what bootlegs are, they have like shit ton of QC issues and you're able to tolerate that and fix them, then go for it, dude. It's half the price as the original and it doesn't look too bad. This figure is also perfect for customizers since you'd be able to have the retro body mold for half the price with all these hands included. The fist, the open crawled hands, and the thwipping hand. That would be really useful for customizers out there. If you see it for a good price, then go get it. But I won't be paying retail price of the original for this one because I've seen sellers in Facebook selling the bootleg ones as if they're the original. Like how fucking, like the audacity of those sellers selling bootlegs for high prices. Like, damn, it's really frustrating and funny to see. Anyway, that's where I'll end the video. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, just leave comments down below. Thank you. Bye. Oh, and pahabol lang. If you do plan on getting this figure, I suggest talking to the seller and asking them for a pretty good copy. Asking them to check the figure before sending so that you don't have to deal with this shitty butterfly joint problem. So yeah, buyers beware.